Hey guys, we're going to be covering a beginner's guide to prepping. In today's uncertain world, we all want to be prepared for whatever might come. So here's a general guide how to get started. So we're going to start by defining prepping. What is prepping? In general terms, you're just being prepared for whatever might come. That's everything from being prepared for a flat tire, being prepared for the end of the world, everything in between. If you're prepared for the end of the world, but you can't even change a flat tire, are you really a prepper? And really this just comes down to being proactive, right? And that's with everything in life. We would rather be proactive rather than reactive. So before we start anything, we need to start by assessing our personal risks and our needs. We talked about this in other videos. We call it a risk assessment system. And basically what you're doing is you're listing out, what do I want to be prepared for? And you just take a pen and paper, list everything out. Then you're going to risk rank all of these items. And what you're going to be looking at is how likely are they? Are these things that happen on a regular basis? Have they never happened before? And then you're also going to look at what is the impact? What's the hazard? So we've all had a flat tire, but the impact of that's relatively low as compared to something if you're looking at, let's say, a total economic collapse. So you're going to take that list and you're going to use that as a guide for your prepping. Right? It doesn't make any sense to put all your eggs in one basket and prepare for something that has a very low likelihood and yet ignore something that has a very high likelihood, right? So step one, that's what we're going to do. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to build a basic emergency kit off of that list. And there's a few different directions you can go with this. A lot of people will start with a 3-day bag or a bug out bag, and one of the reasons is because typically that 3-day bag will cover a very broad spectrum of what you might need. So almost whatever you're prepping for, that 3-day bag is going to be important. A lot of people start with that. You could also start with an at-home kit, again depending on what your list dictates. And we're talking food, water, medical, communications, flashlights, things like that. So if you're starting at square one, then you start with the simple stuff. 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months is kind of the progression people use. So start with 3 days, food, water purification. Do I have a way to heat the home? Right now we're heading into winter time. Things like that. And we have other videos on these topics, and we'll be producing more videos on these topics. So this, like I said, this video is just a very broad overview. Next, we want to create a family contingency plan. It's important that everyone in your family is on the same page, that you have good communication in the event of an emergency. And again, we're talking everything from basic emergency. What are you going to do if there's a fire? What are you going to do if there's a kid stuck at school? Things like that. Blizzard. Come up with these things, use that list that we established earlier, and come up with a plan. Have everyone sit around the table, come up with this plan, make sure everybody understands their role in the plan, what's the communication plan is going to be, things like that. What's the role and responsibilities going to be of people in the house, mom, dad, who's going to pick up the kids, things like that. And basically what you do is you take the scenario that you're going to discuss, and you just walk through it step by step. So you're going to start with this scenario, you're going to sit down, talk about it. Okay, there's a fire. Mom, what you gonna do? Dad, what's he gonna do? All right, hey, person A is gonna grab this kid. Person B is gonna grab that kid. We're gonna X out of this door. If that doesn't work, we're gonna X out of that door. And you go through every step, and you ask yourself, what can go wrong? What do we need to worry about? What are we gonna do if this doesn't work? What are we gonna do if that's doesn't work? Things like that, and you just go step by step over that scenario, and you discuss that, and you build out a plan and make sure everyone is aware of what their roles would be. And then another point, it's important to start small and just gradually build up. Now this can be done on a budget. You don't have to just dump in a bunch of money in the beginning, and typically we don't recommend that, because when you're just starting out, there's a lot that you don't know, and your goals will shift as you do this. So start small. For example, the water. Well, you can start by buying a few cases of water a week or paycheck or whatever you have to do. Cans of food, that's how I got started. 2 cans of food a grocery trip, which is all I could afford. You do that long enough, you'll have a decent food inventory, and you just do that with all the different categories. As you move through this, you'll get a better idea of where you want to be, and you can slowly spend more if you need to. Also, if that's not really an option, then what you can also do is start looking to different skills that you decide you need for your particular scenario. Something as simple as knot tying and fire starting, a lot of that stuff is free. There's free knowledge on the internet, and you could also do that to increase your preparedness. You know, medical knowledge, get CPR certification, stuff like that can be some of your first steps to slowly move you in the right direction. So just to reiterate, you know, it is important to take these beginning steps in your preparedness journey. A lot of the groundwork that you lay here will make things easier, especially in that risk assessment we talked about earlier. Start slow, start small. If you guys have any suggestions or any comments about your prepping journey, leave them in the comments below, and we look forward to hearing you. Stay safe, stay prepared.